but there are issues that we did not conclude on, and one of them required that we interact with the members of the board, because they are directly responsible for this. In the Auditor General's report, Honorable Chair and colleagues, the Auditor General indicated that UBC was operating and continued to operate without a strategic plan, and yet is a requirement under the Public Finance Management Act.
Okay, Honorable Richard, after raising that. Honorable members, I request you, we go to the report of the Auditor General. When you open, we are going to be referencing to this document, this report of the Auditor General of 6.0, continued operation of UBC without a strategic plan. And some other issue will come in. That's why we invited the entity, that is UBC, which was raised by the Auditor General and the Managing Director, Mr. Winston referred to the board because it's the one to approve the strategic plan, and that's the reason why we invited you, Mr. Chairman of the board, and I can read it before. That is page 12, section of the National Planning Authority, that is Development Plans Regulations of 2018, stipulates that a ministry, department, or agents of government shall prepare a 5-year strategic plan in line with the respective sector development, and the strategic plan shall specify the strategic objectives, strategies, interventions, key activities, and targets for achieving the desired results. The strategic plan shall be approved by the top management, which is the board, management committee of the entity. The departments and agency strategic plans shall be approved by the respective institutional governing body. Section 310(1) of Treasury Instructions 2017 requires every accounting officer in consultance with the relevant stakeholder to prepare a strategic plan in order to identify appropriate programs together with their goals, objectives, and target for implementation. B, provide an objective basis for their budget estimates and a basis for the budget program structure, and provide a basis for measure performance according to predetermined targets. However, I noted that UBC strategic plan of 2017-2022 expired at the end of financial year 2021-22 and had not been repressed or updated. The lack of a strategic plan implies that the corporation's activities may not be aligned with NDP 3 and may lead to failure to achieve the vision, mission of UBC as well as the national objectives. It is also implies that the corporation is managed on an ad hoc basis, and that's the reason why we invited the board chairman to explain to this why the entity is operating with an expired strategic plan. So we're waiting for your response, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members, for your comfort. When the Auditor General carried out his audit, this was in draft, waiting for approval of the board. Our board.
Can I be supplied with copies to my members? Clerk, Bridget, you can work on it. I have so that I can have those copies. You give it to her. Okay. Yes, you can continue as I check.
It was pending, this one was pending approval by the board. The board had not been appointed by the minister. When the board expired, it took about how many years? 5 months or 6? It took about 4 months for the minister to appoint a new board. And when we eventually appointed, we embarked on evaluating, analyzing, and approving the new plan, which we finally did, and is around.
Yes, Honorable Sibambi.
Thank you, Chair, for this opportunity. With all due respect, the Chair, Mr. Tumusime, is not just chairing the board, but is here as someone who is seasoned. And is here a groomed and well, completely founded leader. The answer and the response given.
Honorable Sibambi, Dr. James can't hear you.
Oh,
please
sorry.
Speak through the
Chair,
microphone.
with all due respect, I didn't expect such a response from Mr. Tumusime, given his background. I think the query is that there was no strategic plan. Not raised such kind of a query, because if you had a draft strategic plan. I've also not had the opportunity of looking and perusing the entire strategic plan. But what is provided to us here, as it is, again, in my opinion, may not qualify to a proper strategic plan of an entity, an agency like UBC. So I have two issues. One, why didn't you raise that with the auditors for them not to bring it as a query? Then two, are you satisfied with what is presented to us as a strategic plan for such an agency?
Okay. Let me, before.
The managing director can answer that one. When you met the Auditor General, the board was not required to appear, so he can explain how the interaction was. Then I answer the
Managing Director?
When the auditors interacted with us, the plan was in draft. As my chairman has explained, the minister hadn't constituted the new board. The mandate of the board had run out, much as some of the old board members bounced back on the new board, including the chair. We had to wait for the fully constituted board of directors. About the content.
No, before the content, did you raise this with the auditors? Because we are considering it when you have an explanation which is really understandable.
Chair and honorable members, we did point it to the auditors that it was in draft. We did point that out.
Let me read your response. Let me read this response, what you made to the accounting officer. Sorry, you made to the Auditor General by that time. The accounting officer indicated that a new strategic plan had been prepared and reviewed by the previous board of directors before expiring of their term of office. And currently, management was addressing the recommendations and comments from other stakeholders. Members who can start from there.
You see, Honorable Chair and colleagues, they are managing director. At the time of the audit, there was no strategic plan. Is that true?
It's not true, Chair.
What was there?
There was a draft strategic plan, and in our responses, we did point it out that we, as Honorable Chair, you did highlight, because we needed the input of stakeholders. So, including National Broadcasters Association, who reviewed it, including UCC and the others.
So does that mean you prepared your work plan for that financial year using a draft strategic plan?
Response?
Yes.
Is that what you are supposed to do?
Honorable Chair and honorable members, we had to have work in progress.
Yes.
And from the strategic plan, we were not drawing from zero. We're drawing from the previous strategic plan that had activities that rolled over. And if you compared the two, you'll find that many of the activities that we had planned in the previous strategic plan could not be implemented.
So when did the term of the board end?
Please?
Around May 2022.
When was the new one appointed?
In August 2022.
And when was the audit?
2023. So
When was the audit done?
that's July 2022 to December.
So you agree that at the time of the audit, there was no strategic plan to guide your operations? Because that's what the auditor is saying, the Auditor General is saying.
Honorable Chair and honorable members, allow me to say that, without repeating myself, that the strategic plan that had expired was not even implemented 20%. And yet the activities, even to date, are very relevant as highlighted in the current strategic plan.
Honorable Baka?
Mr. Chair, I don't know if it is English. You know, a draft is a draft. In Parliament, you cannot quote a bill, you quote a statute. And that is the law. The other one is like we are using it to create a law. Now, if the strategic plan, the old one, had expired or was old, to us, that would be the strategic plan you use. You don't use a draft. You use the new one when it is no longer a draft, but a final document. I think let's not disagree, because we are talking the language of the Auditor General.
Honorable Chair and honorable members, I do concede
Yeah.
that the draft is not.
Chair, after that,
Yes,
concession.
Honorable Sibambi?
Yes, was that not foreseeable that the board, the term is about to expire, and you had something critical and important for you to ensure that before the expiry, at least this strategic plan is passed by the previous board?
Can you
Because
respond?
it was foreseeable. It's not an occurrence that you did not know that the board's term is going to expire. And before you proceed with your work plans, you needed some guidance. Was this presented to the board before the expiry of the term for you to ensure that there is some bit of consistency and
Honorable Chair,
compliance?
honorable members, yes, we did present it to the board before the term expired, and we were guided by the board because we had wanted them to sign it off, and their guidance was the input of all stakeholders was very, very important for us to seek.
Do you have evidence to that?
Yes, Chair, we can present that evidence from the board minutes that from the previous board minutes.
Please provide those minutes. Honorable Kwizida?
The chairman, thank you very much. The chairman, we need to know the term of the board members, because a strategic plan, it guides performance in a given period.
That's
And its performance can be evaluated on what has been achieved annually or at the end of that strategic plan. So at the expiry of the show performance, so they will give us how they evaluated the last performance in accordance with the plan they had. So how many years are performance is the board? How many years?
Respond.
How many years?
The board is only
22, 24, 25. These are 3 years. How do you do a strategic plan mid-term? Because the board must perform and as guided by your act. So, did it have a budget?
Near the microphone, Honorable Quizer, so that they can hear you.
We are saying that
Push it near you.
the board is lasting for 4 years. So it means the strategic plan lasts for 4 years. And when the other one has expired, you evaluate the performance of and the successes you did in the last strategic plan. Do you have the other evaluation of the other that expired? And did this thing require money? Did you have the money? What was the challenge?
Let me first have response to that specific
Mr. Chairman,
question.
before he answers,
No, members,
something
let's-
related.
He knows Parliament. We do legal things. So are you proceeding where you say that you are not supposed to be guided by legalistic things?
By legal.
Okay,
Here is the
you are established under the law,
Yes.
under the legal instrument.
Yes.
And Mr. Tumusime know that actually strategic plan is a function of the board, not management.
Yes.
It is you to put it in place and give it to them. So who failed his duty? Is it the board or management?
It is the board, but
So
management.
why can't you apologize and say we failed it? Then we don't waste time.
I think I will apologize.
Yeah,
Yes,
just
we-
apologize and say we have been performing as a board and without a strategic plan.
We've had.
And you say the reasons.
We've had the days when we had this vacuum.
You know,
Honorable
Chair, I
Naume,
did
are you
conclude on
done?
that. I did
Members.
conclude. Let's conclude on that, Chair. You know that there was a space of 4 months between the expiry of the old board and the appointment of the new board. Is why they didn't have a strategic plan. I want us to clear that now. The report of the Auditor General is saying that the strategic plan expired at the end of the year, financial year ending 2022. This audit was done in 2023 after 1 year. I want us now to clear the excuse of the 4 months between the expiry of the old board and the new board. Now, can you clarify? 1 year later, there was no strategic plan.
Doctor?
It's not 1 year later. This is 2022. So I think the gap is not 1 year.
The gap is 1
We
year.
apologize for not.
Read the report.
Yes.
This report is financial year ending 2023, June. The report is saying your strategic plan expired in June 2022. That is 1 year. So what you should clarify is what happened between that 1 year, and yet the appointment of the new board was just a gap of 4 months. So what happened in the 8 months?
So the strategic plan ended in the financial year of 2021-2022. Are we at par, James?
So are we talking of the financial year or the calendar year here? I need to make a quick reference.
For you, what is your strategic plan saying when you say 2022, 2023?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Financial year, yes.
The financial year ends in June, meaning it ends because it is specific.
So 2022 is when, 2023 July is when it starts, and that is in the new financial year,
So
in that financial year. So when you say it ended in June 2022, and ours says 2022, 2023. That means it started in the same year.
Exactly.
So
And
they were
was
not-
by July 2023,
Yes,
it was not there.
it was still a draft.
So it was not there.
Pending the consultations with other stakeholders.
So when did the term of the board end?
The term of the board, we have this, ended in, get me the date. He's not getting the point.
Let's consult and get the actual date, Chair.
Please consult.
Yes.
Chair.
Yes, Honorable.